The third offering was just too much for me. I could not bear it. To watch poor people give to a church like that. And they have nothing. It hurt. So they said, well, now we're going to take an offering for Marion Lynch. Because she's going to be giving the word today. I said, no. You take that offering and you give it to whoever has a need here. I don't want that offering. I won't take off the poor. I've never needed money so bad that I would take off the poor. After the service, the head of the staff there, which was the head of the choir, came up to me, and she said, the power and the presence of God was so powerful on you. It was like a burning fire. And even now, I cannot stand in your presence near you. It is so burning hot. They could feel it clear across the room. I couldn't feel it because it's God, you know? I mean, I can feel his presence, but what he was doing to burn out sin, I couldn't feel because I had no sin in there. And that wasn't, there were many churches that I've been in said exactly the same thing. The church where the wife had the mink coat. I had a conversation with the pastor's wife, who was a pastor. We were sitting with tables lined up. They were selling my book to the congregation. And as I began to talk to her like I'm talking to you, a woman was standing there out of the congregation, which was one of the most spiritual prayer warriors they had. And because, these are lovely women. Powerful, powerful women of God. And they were just awesome to me. I just loved them so much. And she stood there, and suddenly, you see, the presence of the glory of God was so powerful. She went, I have to leave. And she was backing up. She said, I can't stand in your presence anymore. And she backed up to the back table. And she turned and told the woman sitting across the back table, even further back. And she says, it's the power of God is so powerful. I can't stand in her presence. And the other woman, you could hear her say, you don't have to tell me about it, honey. I feel it all the way back here. That was the glory of God. That wasn't me. But I walk in that. I talk in that. I preach in that. I teach in that. I don't feel it like you do because the flesh died. So, what's the lesson here? What am I trying to say to you? That young man whose mother was standing up there and praising the Lord in that particular church, when that staff member came up to me and told me that she could no longer stand in my presence, she went to go walk away. I said, wait a minute. Give your pastor a message. Tell him one of the members in the staff is a devil. And he's fighting him so hard he cannot preach the truth. And when I walked out of that church, I could feel the power of God go through that church like this. I mean, the Holy Spirit went whoosh, 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 just cleaned up the whole church. I saw them a couple of weeks later, and she told me about it. She says, that was the hardest thing that this church has ever been through, but it was so good for us. God did clean it up. That's what a prophet does. A prophet's going to know everything about you. I've been in churches where I've been invited to go to that church, and they had a woman there that was claiming to be God's giving. She was laying hands on people. She was a prophet. She was giving the the Holy Spirit to people. And I couldn't feel the presence of God in her. I felt the demonic forces standing right next to me, trying to kill me, trying to stop me from telling the truth. Oh, I felt that. And I mean, what these women do that are not of God, their spirit comes on you like this, to try and crush you, to try and kill you, to stop you from telling the truth and exposing who they are. So I went and I watched her at this meeting. I didn't sit, and watch, but I felt a couple seconds of watching her the way God was showing me. And I told the pastors, I said, she has complete control of your church. She is doing every single job that others would love to do and need the experience to do. But she's taken over your church. She is in complete control, and she's not giving people the Holy Spirit because the Holy Spirit isn't in her to give. My own pastor knew this woman, and he said, Marion, when you said that, I thought, oh no, something's wrong with Marion. Wasn't but a few weeks later it manifested. What was wrong with her began to come out. And everybody in the whole church could see it. And so when they got her out of that church, out of the position they had her in, then the church started to grow. Then the people in the church were able to be partaker of working in the church. She was no longer in control. There is nothing worse than a controlling spirit. Believe you me, a controlling spirit can literally take your mouth and make it say what it wants while you're in its presence. If you don't know, all you have to do is receive them as though they are a Christian. But if you know that a devil is a devil and you don't listen to it, they can't touch you, which is another lesson.